It's silly to think that you can actually be cursed. There are guys who ride, their bikes on road trips, and they'll put the little bell on to ward off the road gremlins. I've heard of other superstitions and seen other superstitious behavior as I've been a truck driver for a couple decades. Obviously, there's not a lot of empirical proof and probably not a lot of truth to those types of superstitions, but the troubles I'm running into with some of these vehicles, and right now what I'm dealing with this old truck, is a good example of, I think, why people get in their minds that they might be cursed. If you've watched any of the previous videos, you'll know that the issues I'm running into with the old 65 is I've replaced the starter, I checked the ignition, we bypassed all that and gone straight to the starter. Still can't get the starter to turn over, but when I bench test it, it works fine. Check the cables, bypass the cables. Like I said, I'm not sure what's going on, but once I get it into the truck, it seems like there's some kind of ghost in the machine. I haven't replaced the battery yet, but it is fully charged, and that is my next step. So we're gonna get the starter in, get the battery hooked up, and see where we can go from there. Hopefully the problem will manifest itself in that process. There's an old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, meaning if you do something small up front, it'll save you a lot of time and headache later. I have somehow misplaced, set aside somewhere, the 3 bolts that hold in my starter motor. Thought I had them right here on my workbench with everything else, and I can't find them. I'm the only one who comes out here anymore, so it's got to be me. And a lot of times, to be smart, I'll put them right back in the hole as a placeholder. I'll put them right back in the hole they came from, thread them in just a little bit so I know where they are, and apparently I didn't do that this time. We're in the middle of May, and it's starting to rain in Southern Cal. Apparently, for safekeeping, I stowed them on the frame rail near where the starter mounts. So if all else fails, retrace your steps. Especially when you have a terrible memory like me. The old school thought, shop school, that I came up in, it's kind of sissy la la to use protective gear. But when you have junk falling in your eyes, that tends to slow things down. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my PPE on. Okay, so it turned over. I don't know what has changed. Maybe I charged the battery just enough, but it cranked. I can't start it yet. I've got a little leak on top. I got to replace a coolant attachment nipple on top of the manifold, but it cranked over. I don't know what was hanging this up before, but for some reason it wasn't cranking over. Same battery, same starter as before. Anyway, so I'm going to tackle the coolant issue right now. Maybe we can get this thing started up. So I already know I've got a leak around where the flare used to be on the end of this. Used to be able to get parts like this pretty easy. This kind of thing is probably going to be a lot harder to find, but we're going to try our luck and maybe we can locate this part. So I'm going to take old Reliable. As you can see, I'm almost at 400,000 miles on this old 4Runner 22RE. Some people have pets. I have cars.
Hello.
Morning. No luck at AutoZone. Frankly, I didn't expect them to have it, but I thought maybe they could look it up. So I'm going to try one more place. Well, I waited too long at the parts counter. They were still helping other people, so time is against me. So we're gonna have to hit this a little bit later. So I tried the Parts Authority, just in there, and it's the wrong size. It's too small. Push comes to shove, maybe I will get that particular part and get a bushing for it, and maybe I can get that to work. But as of this moment, he doesn't have it in his system, doesn't show any other suppliers on it, so I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper. So I couldn't find the part. I'm probably gonna have to do a lot more research, dive in a little bit deeper to find a particular replacement for this heater core connector. But to get it all hooked up and running so I can see if it's gonna work, we actually ran over to Home Depot, and I got a bunch of brass fittings that I'm gonna jimmy together. It's gonna hook up, and at least I'll be able to put the coolant in it and start it up. So we'll see how that goes. Don't laugh, but this is what it's just gonna have to be for now. Alright, let's see what happens. Well, I think we got a fuel delivery problem, which is something we had before when the starter went out, or at least it's quit cranking. So we're back to where we were before, but turning over. So I'm gonna figure out the fuel problem, and that'll be the next thing I tackle. So some of the obstacles that we have faced when we first got it: transmission was a problem. Got that rebuilt, so it's got a new rebuilt FMX 3-speed auto in it. We had some linkage problems with the carburetor.
taking care of that. It didn't have an air cleaner. Put that on. There were some other choke issues and that kind of thing. I'm not sure if I've actually squared that away yet, because it hasn't been running long enough to figure out if the choke is set and if it's functioning properly, because it does have a automatic choke. The next thing is, of course, making sure that the fuel is going in. Once we have that, I think we can start doing some basic cosmetic stuff to maybe get it up to a level where we can put it back on the market and get it moving, get it out of here. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying watching this little bit of progress, as small as it's been. I appreciate all of you subscribing. If you're interested in following what we're doing, like and subscribe, and I appreciate all of you watching.